the Cerebral Entertainment Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Cerebral Entertainment Podcast. I am James, and with me, as always, is my good friend Colt.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. It's Sunday. It's one of those, like Sunday's the podcast day, but it's also like the relaxing day, kind of, because you got football on. Normally don't eat the greatest. And right now, while we're doing this little like an annual Sunday thing because the new show of Dexter is on. So like my parents have been coming up on Sunday afternoons and watching Dexter.
Gotcha.
It's that it does it the crappy way where you only get one episode a week, which is, just ludicrous. I don't know why anybody does that anymore. But
so it's a good day for you.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
Relaxation, things like that. It typically is for me too. I know that I'm getting older in a lot of ways. But this isn't necessarily, it is a sign of getting older, but it's been going on for so long. I don't know when it actually started. But Sundays for me, like if I don't get a nap in, if I don't get my scheduled nap in, things just don't go right. And so like it doesn't have to be a really super long nap, but I mean, just 15 minutes, anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half. I like to get that nap time in. And Sunday is just, I don't know, it's the day that has been consecrated for nap time.
Yeah.
And I don't get it in much anymore. I miss it. But
I
feel it.
I've never figured out the nap because I've never been able to get them like a lot anyways. And I've never figured out what my time frame is supposed to be because you know how like you go over, some people can take like a 3-hour nap and they're perfectly fine. If I take a 3-hour nap, the rest of my day is shot. There's no way. But if I only do like 30 minutes, I just wake up and I'm groggy and I don't know. I feel like I'm not myself anymore. So yeah. I've never been able to have the time to try to perfect the nap time that I need. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a person who can go and lay down during the day and think I'm going to take a 15-minute nap because it's going to take me a half an hour just to fall asleep.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I need to take more time to do it. But by the time I just get frustrated with it and I'm just like, screw it. I'll sleep tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't take me that long to fall asleep. Now, it's hard for me to stay asleep. And that's just an overarching problem for me in general.
Mm-hmm.
But the perfect amount of sleep, and I can attest to this from experience, right? There used to be a show on the radio. It was talk radio. I forget what the show was now. Savage Nation, maybe? It was Michael Savage, Dr. Michael Savage. He talked about how the perfect nap, this is how you can facilitate it. You take some keys, like your car keys, your house keys, whatever, and you put them in your hand. And you hold your hand off kind of like off the arm of the chair or off the side of the bed, and you let yourself fall asleep. And as soon as you hear your keys drop, you wake up, because as soon as you like just fall asleep and your body goes limp, it's the perfect time to wake back up. So that short of a nap somehow resets the brain, and it works fantastic. It's like, I guess it's a cat nap, right? It works fantastic. It's insane how well it works for me.
I don't know that would work for me. And the reason why is because like, you ever had a day, maybe not in your current job, but any other job that you've had where like, you're just so dog tired through the day and you're on your lunch break, you try to do something like that, like lay your head down for a little bit and just enough to where as soon as you fall asleep, you wake back up. The rest of the day, I'm still dog tired. So for me, I don't think that works. No, I don't know, but like that's not enough to get you into REM sleep, right?
Not even close.
Are you not supposed to in a nap?
No. Right.
That's correct. At all? Okay.
Yeah, when you do, you're going into deep sleep. When you go into REM sleep, so that is when that's why you get that sleep hangover. If you get a sleep hangover, it's because you were in a deep sleep, but then you get that interrupted and your day is shot.
Yeah.
The little just falling asleep and waking right back up thing, as soon as your body goes limp, that's just a matter of your brain. I don't know. For me, it just feels like it just almost like hitting a reset button, like bam. Now it's not like I got a crisp 8 hours sleep and woke
Right.
up to the smell of Folgers coffee brewing in the kitchen. But it's like, I don't know, it just gives me a bit of a boost, and sometimes a big boost. Sometimes it's like, because I'm dragging, I'm one of those days where I'm struggling to keep my eyes open at all. Just like I can't stay awake for nothing. Like I have to be up and actually walking, moving around, or else I'm going to fall asleep.
Right.
One of those days, I take one of those little naps and bam, it does something for me. So I don't know. But the anything longer than that, though, according to Dr. Savage and according to myself, it'll ruin you. Like you get that sleep hangover.
Gotcha.
So, at any rate, Sundays are good. I agree. And we are just a couple days past Thanksgiving 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to read you a little fact. Now this was printed out in 2019, May 2nd of 2019. So I don't know if these numbers are still this current, but it does give some perspective about being thankful. And then the fact that, I feel bad for poor anywhere in any country, right? But in America, like the poor here are rich compared to other places, like
Mhm.
big time. And I don't know this. I don't have the paperwork in front of me or the site in front of me for this, but I think it was in one of my graduate studies at college. The teacher, the instructor, professor had told us that if you own a vehicle, you are in the top 1% of the world. So that's how many people don't have that much of anything. Even if you have a crappy, beat up old Ford, whatever, insert your crappy car there. You're still richer than 1%, or you're still richer than 99% of the world.
Right.
This statement here, though, this number here says 1/4 of the world's population lives on less than $200 a year. So that seems like nothing to us, right? We might drop $200 on take the wife and kids and maybe a couple of others, mom and dad, out for a meal that's going to cost you $200. 90 million people survive on less than $75 a year. So that's just insane if you think about it. So I can't even fathom those numbers, right?
Well, we say survive, but that's literally what you're talking about when you say that, like that it's surviving, struggling to survive.
No, that's right. But you're talking about people who aren't, they're not getting, a flow of finances in to go out and buy groceries. Like they're surviving off of whatever they can on the land and probably using their own. It's not like they have dollar bills for the most part. A lot of these other countries either. They're surviving off whatever monies they have in that particular region of the world. And they're comparing it for this statistic. They're comparing whatever their money is to the dollar and saying this is what they have to live on. But nonetheless, when you do that comparison and to think about how just even in our most terrible times, in our lowest of times financially, if our economy tanks, even during the Great Depression, which was a terrible time for our country, and then we had more recently the recession after the housing bubble burst in 08. Some people faced some hardships during COVID, during the pandemic, when everything had to shut down. So we had to quarantine, and there was this lockdown, and businesses lost their businesses. People lost their business, and a lot of businesses had to shut down. Those were some hard times. Nevertheless, we're talking about $75 a year that people are living on, just to put that in perspective, and something to be thankful for. But it's not just to be thankful for. So, at least we don't have to do that. Hopefully, it can help shape our perspective and not just be thankful, but kind of helps to be more altruistic, more charitable toward things and people, especially, that we can, and kind of give us that perspective to do better with what we've got.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's like
Thanksgiving quote for today.
That's like for daily Starbucks goers, that's a couple of weeks worth of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have to live an entire year off of that money, that amount of money.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think we've talked about Starbucks on here recently, haven't we, on the show?
Not too long ago. Yeah.
That just amazes me. Daily Starbucks, because that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
$7 coffee in the morning, every morning.
And you have to carve out the time to sit in a line for that long.
True that. Yeah. Because I paid $10 for a jar of coffee grounds that lasts me for a month, and that's really my preferred coffee that I drink. It's like
I-
I don't not go to Starbucks because not just because I don't want to spend the money on it or waste my time there. I don't prefer it. It's like a dessert. It's like going to get a shake somewhere.
Mhm.
Not like when I want coffee, I want black hardcore coffee. I'm looking for it to wake me up. That's what I'm looking for.
If I go to the city, say I go to the city and I'm doing some shopping or something, and there's a Starbucks like in the mall or in a Target or something like that, sometimes I'll stop in there and grab one because I know it's going to be quick.
Yeah.
But like I bought my wife a gift card to Starbucks last Christmas or for something. I don't remember what it was for. And we were in Farmington a while back and she made the comment, well, let's go through Starbucks and I'll use my gift card to get one. And we're sitting in line and I've been in line for 10 minutes at this point. I'm looking over and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, why are we here? She goes, you don't have to stay in this line if you don't want to. I was like, okay. And I just bailed. I was like, this is ridiculous. We're still 18 cars back in line and we've already been in line for 10 minutes. Like, what are we doing? This is coffee.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
And this is time in your life that you're never going to get back.
Exactly.
You never get these moments back
Mhm.
that you're standing in line for this coffee.
Right.
So you've noticed we have a new coffee place in town down there now, right? Scooters.
I heard about it. I've heard good things.
I haven't really heard much, but I do know that we have some smaller coffee houses around. I miss Bauhaus that was in downtown Farmington. That was a fantastic place. I loved that place. Had like a Washington Avenue. Is that right? Up in St. Louis, where a lot of your concert venues and lofts and things were. You had that kind of a feel to it. Some of the coffee houses and clubs down there was just very artistic, very, I don't know, had a lot of swagger to it. But Bauhaus has since gone, but there's a couple of more around town that I definitely would recommend going to before we go to Starbucks and it's not even Scooters because it's still a franchisee place. So support small business, right? Support locals.
That was yesterday, right? Wasn't yesterday support or like small business Saturday? Isn't that what it's considered?
I'm not sure.
I think it was. I've seen a lot of people posting about small businesses and stuff yesterday. I didn't actually really do much yesterday. I probably should have gotten out and supported someone locally for sure. But I did. I made a post on Facebook that I copied and shared from somebody. That basically said that you'll go to like a chain like a McDonald's or a Walmart or something like that, and they can treat you like crap, but you'll keep going back. But you go to a small business once, and they do an accident, and now you hate them for life. And
yeah.
I thought that was an interesting conversation topic because we've been talking about we talk about convenience a lot and how these big corporations kind of get by because it's just so convenient, and with smaller prices on things and get more for your money kind of thing, and all that drive-throughs and all that kind of stuff. I just thought it was an interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah, and I know that I don't mean to stick myself out there like I don't know. I'm not trying to brag, I guess. What I want to do is I want to try and encourage other folks to try to have a mindset, at least challenge yourself to have the mindset like I feel like I'm at least aspiring to have, because I am much more critical of the franchise places, the big places, much more, and it's because I have that mindset though. I'm like, if you don't have your stuff together, you don't have much more that you're offering me. Like I get it, the convenience, yeah, sometimes you just have to, stop at a McDonald's or something, I guess. I wouldn't go to McDonald's if it weren't for my kids. And sometimes I'll get a frappe there. I do like those. But if I didn't, they like, Kayla likes the frappes too, and they like the chicken nuggets or whatever. But I can't stand that place. One day, and it's been several years ago, I looked at the quality of their food and I was like, I wasn't even looking at like the ingredients, like a list. I was looking at the food itself. I was like, this looks disgusting, and then I've seen some other, and this is just my opinion, other people might have opinions. I've heard people who just loathe Arby's, they just think it's the grossest thing ever. Arby's is actually one that I don't mind so much. My point is though, I try to be even more critical. Like, I don't know if you remember, but I told you the story not too awful long ago about my Jack in the Box fiasco here in my hometown.
Mhm.
I still haven't been back since, dude. I will not go back there ever. And they were in somewhat of a semi-quarantine, just to give you a nutshell. And the people were walking in, but they weren't like, it wasn't in droves, but there was this huge line in the drive-through. I wasn't going to go to the drive-through, so I took myself in, and they were waiting on other people. And as soon as I got up the counter, I said, "Sorry, sir, we're not serving inside anymore." And I had been standing there like waiting, and so I'm like, "What?"
Right.
And so I swore to myself, I didn't make a scene. I probably had a angry look on my face because I was angry, but I didn't make a scene. But I was hangry, dude, and I had been to the gym, and I think the pre-workout was kicking my butt. I needed food badly. And so I just took a deep breath and I walked out, and I've never walked back in there since. I haven't walked back in there. I haven't driven through. I'm not touching that Jack in the Box again. I will not. Now, if that were mom and pop, I might actually. I can talk to the owner,
I don't think I told you this. So a few weeks ago, I had a similar instance at that same exact place. But so I was planning on going to McDonald's, and the reason why is because I had some people at my house doing some work, and I thought, well, I'll grab some something quick through McDonald's and get some breakfast for them to bring back over.
Yeah.
So I went to McDonald's first, and the line was all the way around the entire building, and I was like, I am not waiting in this line. I'll be here for an hour. So I was like, I'll just go to Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box didn't really have a line, so I go through Jack in the Box. I order fast. They have me sit off to the side, and I seen like 3 or 4 vehicles come in after me, get their meals, and leave. And I'm just about ready to go inside because I've been sitting there for so long. And then all of a sudden they come out and they bring me my stuff. And luckily I checked inside my bag to see if everything was there. And they shorted me a biscuit thing that I'd ordered. So I walk in and they knew it. Like they knew as soon as I walked in that it was there. They're like, "Oh yeah, we were wondering where this went, like who this went to." It was in a bag sitting right there beside them. They knew it was there. And and I was just halfway like, really? Like you knew, you knew. I think you were just hoping that I would drive away and not know or not pay attention until I got home. And and I bet they do that. I bet a lot of businesses do that on purpose. Oh, I want an extra biscuit, or I'm hungry this morning. I want a biscuit. So I'm going to short these people a biscuit and hopefully they drive away. And, because by the time you get home, and I've always thought of that too, I know people who will get all the way home, check their bag, realize they missed something, and then call the place. And then if you're a business, I mean, I think most businesses will give them something free, or, hey, if you want to turn around and come back, we'll give you your thing. But how many people really are going to do that? I think
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, though, what I do is it drives my daughter nuts, but I don't leave the drive-through until I look through everything and make sure everything's there.
Yep.
And so if it's a pretty big order, I'm sitting there, she's like, "Dad, there's people behind us. You need to go." I'm like, "No, I'm not leaving until I can account for everything that I just ordered," because
Exactly.
I know I'm not coming back. Because you know why though? It's not worth my time to go back in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
It's really not. The quality of whatever it is I'm getting through a drive-through is not worth me turning around and wasting the gas to go back, or my time, my precious time.
What about, okay, here's a question. If you're in the drive-through, they give you your bag full of stuff, you start going through it. Now if you're like me, you're looking at the receipt at the same time. If you see that there's something in there that you ordered and it's not there, I'm looking at the receipt to see, well, did they put it on my receipt? If it's not on my receipt, sometimes I'll just go away. I'll just drive. I didn't get charged for it. I'm not going to sit here and wait for them to make it again or whatever they got to do.
Yeah, even though you ordered it, right?
Yeah, even though I specifically ordered it and it may have been on the screen, but it's not on my receipt, so they didn't charge me for it.
Right.
So are you the same way? Would you drive?
Same.
You drive?
Yep, I'm out.
Okay.
I don't want to be there in the first place, dude.
Right.
I don't want to be there in the first place. I'm going because usually the kids, and sometimes for convenience.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I do get a hankering for something. I do get a hankering for a roast beef, or I do get a hankering for, sometimes even some Taco Bell. And Taco Bell, somehow, some way, that escapes as one of those places that I don't loathe so much. But they still, and I don't want to offend anybody out there. Okay, so if this is not you, then I'm not talking about you. And if it is you, then you step up your game. Okay. There's nothing personal, right?
Yeah.
But I don't get angry at fast food workers anymore, or workers like at the grocery stores, whether it's Walmart or one of the more local Harps. which I try to frequent that place much more often than I do Walmart. But I don't get mad at them anymore because have you looked at, I mean, have you seen them? They're not in like the highlight years of their lives. They're working, they're doing this thing. And some people do. I mean, I can't say this is everybody in fast food or grocery stores. Trust me. There are some people who are on their game. Like they take pride in their work and they do what they do. And that's awesome. But for the others, like the guys leaving biscuits on the bag, or the guy who gave me at Taco Bell not too awful long ago, the completely wrong order of stuff. And I didn't turn around. I went with it. I just took the stuff that he gave me. I was like, well, this is what I'm eating today. Why? Because when I drive through that place, I understand the caliber of what's about to happen. I lose my sense of expectation. Okay. So that way, otherwise I would live an angry life, and I'm not going to let them do that to me. I'm not going to let anyone do that to me anymore. Right. I don't want, because I have expectations going through a fast food restaurant where stuff is cheap and it's like an assembly line of junk food that they warm up and they give to you in a bag that you eat in your car.
Now there is
somehow my expectations are up here, really, and I'm going to get all pissed off because they didn't meet that expectation.
There's always the chance that you can actually come out ahead in that situation. If you get somebody else's food, I'm not saying you're going to get higher quality food, but you might get more, or you might get something that was more expensive than what you bought. But you know, the old saying with Taco Bell, it's like, no matter what you get, you're getting the same thing. It's just in a different shape.
Yeah.
So
no matter what you get, you're getting diarrhea. So.
Listen, I like diarrhea every once in a while. I can't get away from it.
It really doesn't do that to me, but it's funny to poke at anyway.
Yeah.
But no, man, my expectations are not high when it comes to that. My daughter and I, we went shopping. When was it? Yesterday or the day before? Friday, day before. So we went shopping. It was her birthday on Thanksgiving Day this year. So she raked in some money. She wanted to go shopping. I said, okay. So I knew that we were going to go and shop for, ladies' tops and makeup, and she had her list. So it was all good though. Even on a Friday, I was just like chilling, right? I just, once again, let go of those expectations. But we stopped in, we were hungry. So we went to Steak and Shake and walked in, got seated, and we sat there for, I don't know, probably 15 minutes. And it was, pretty busy. I'd say it wasn't absolutely jam-packed, but it was pretty busy. And you could tell they probably just got done with like their rush. So we're sitting there and I watched another couple come down and sit after us. And the waitress came over and helped them and just walked right by us. Simple mistake, I guess. I don't know how you walk right by us when we've been sitting there already for, at that point, probably 10 minutes. And then, 15 minutes rolls around. And I look at my daughter, I'm like, how much is your heart set on getting Steak and Shake today? Because I already worked it out in my mind. Because at first, I got angry thoughts. Those are those automatic thoughts that we think about, right? That negativity, that stuff that, it just eats at me. It doesn't hurt them when I'm harboring these thoughts and let them fester.
Right.
Whether it's judgmentalness or whether it's just angerness or whatever it is, it only affects me, and then it eats me up. I stress out and then end up having some kind of an outburst, either directed at them or directed at somebody that didn't even deserve it. So I already worked this out in my head. I'm like, you know what? I have the ability to choose one thought over another today. I'm not going to do it. So it's like, whatever. So I asked her, because if she had her heart set on it, I was going to stay, but I was going to let somebody know. I feel like I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to say, hey, we've been sitting over here now for umpteen minutes and you missed us. So just thought I'd give you a holler, let you know we're still here. But otherwise, I was just going to politely get up and leave with Kayla. And she said, well, I kind of want it. And she said, but what else is there? So we started going over options. So we went over options, like, okay, so I guess. So we just quietly stood up and walked out the door. Didn't say a word. I wasn't even upset. In my heart, I wasn't upset. And that's how I feel like I've come to this in my life, right? I've come to the fact that I'm not going to let a restaurant, a fast food joint, nothing like, especially a brand like that, a chain. I'm not going to let that like get to me. And these workers who, once again, I have to assume that they probably don't want to be there. Most of them. It's not like they're living, like I said, the highlight reel of their lives, and so they're not happy about it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to hold it against them because I'm the one that chose to come in there and use their service. I don't have to. I can walk right out and just go somewhere else. It's no biggie.
Have you ever been in a restaurant and been jealous of other people's service compared to what you're getting? I feel like if I'm in a restaurant, I feel like if you're a waitress or a waiter, I understand you have like your section that you're covering and that you got your people that you're taking care of. And I understand if it's a really busy time or something like that. But I also feel like you should know like what your surroundings are and like the sections around you too. Because I've been in several positions where I've sat down at a restaurant and the whatever they're called will take me to my seat. I'll sit down. They'll say your waitress will be right with you. 10, 15 minutes later, no waitress has shown up. We don't have a drink in front of our face or a menu or anything. But I've seen a waiter or waitress go to the table beside me 3 or 4 times in the time that I've been sitting here. If they would just take a look over, they would know that nobody's here. And at least like just as a common courtesy, maybe if they know who the waiter or waitress is that has our table, say something to them. Hey, these guys have been here for 15 minutes now and I don't see that they've been gotten to or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually been times where I've specifically because a waiter or waitress did that, I specifically asked if they would be our waiter or waitress now instead of the other person.
Can I adopt you?
Yeah. So, and I look back at that now, like, oh man, now I'm probably a burden on that other person. But if they're willing to take my table and they're going to give me really good service, I would rather it look bad on the other person who ignored that we were even there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, I've totally been there.
Yeah.
Totally been there.
Yeah.
And of course, the higher end of the restaurant, I say higher end, it's not like we're working with, I don't go to really expensive restaurants typically. But when you go like a step up, when you go to like a for real sit down restaurant, like you go to an Applebee's, so I consider Applebee's and Colton's, or what's Colton's like stepbrother's name? What is that?
Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. Yeah. Go to a place like that. Or
You're going to make
like
me so hungry right now, dude.
Go to a steakhouse or a higher end burger joint, and you sit down. My expectations are a little higher, right? Because these people are serving you for a tip, right? And so I try not to I still tip, I still tip. And there's a whole tip argument too that we could have. That's a whole other conversation about what's up with that. But I try to give really good tips for really good service, and I just give like the basic tips for when service sucks. But I have higher expectations. But I say that to get to this point. If you want good service, and this is for real, this isn't just because it's kind of been our crusade for a while now. This is my lived experience. If you want good service, if you want quality service, if you want somebody who cares, if you want someone who wants you to come back again, go to a small business.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to take care of you. And even if it's not the owner that's out there waiting your table, it's somebody that they know and that they have like instilled that personal touch to, And if you do have a problem with the server or whatever, you can go talk to that owner in good faith, not even having to, moan and groan about what just happened. Just say, hey, his service kind of was a little weak because this, and they're going to get on it, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take care of that. They're going to take care of you. Go try to find the owner for McDonald's or Arby's or whatever, any of the Applebee's, whatever, it doesn't matter. Some of those places are franchised out, and so the owner is somewhat local. It's still, it's a franchise. It's a what I say earlier, the factory. It's just an assembly line of just crap that they're throwing on. They're warming it up and they're giving it to you. And so if your expectations are high, man, I think you're making yourself miserable when you do that. Because those folks, unfortunately, they're used to it. They're used to the complaints. They're used to rudeness of the customers. And because people are all of us, myself included, when I say that, but people are spoiled because when I hate when I have to go through McDonald's and there's a line. Like, you mean I have to wait? What's the meaning of this?
Right.
I should be able to drive right up there, tell you what I want, and get out of here as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And when I don't get that, then I get negative feelings, man. I get bad feelings inside. And so I've really been working to try to mitigate that within myself so that I don't create my own misery because of something that someplace I don't even have to be, I'm not being forced to be there. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's probably easier for us to like personally us to get perturbed about things because we don't have like, especially with restaurants and drive-throughs, we don't really have that big of a selection to choose from, right? So it's a little easier to, like I was talking to a buddy of mine in St. Louis about just like me going to a restaurant or something and having an issue. And he's like, why didn't you go to this restaurant? And I was like, dude, that's like 2 towns over. That's like at least 10 minutes more down the highway,
Right.
and that's coming from somebody in St. Louis who has all the options on every corner that they could possibly want to go to. And I'm like, man, if I want to go to McDonald's and this one sucks, I've got to travel another 15 minutes down the highway to get to the next one.
Right.
Like that's just where we live. This is a conundrum that I have.
So I'm going to the sucky McDonald's, man.
Yeah.
Like, no way I'm driving that far.
Right.
But we do that to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
And I know not everyone can take this bit of advice that I'm about to give, or this bit of life experience, whatever. But I do my best now. I try really, really hard to pay a little bit more and go to someplace else,
Mhm.
when I do my best to stay out of Walmart nowadays, my absolute best. Doesn't always happen. I went to Walmart today and actually got some chicken wings from their deli. And it was an experience in and of itself because I walked up and there's not much there, but I was going to get the pick 3 wings, right? It was quick. It was easy. I had my son with me. I had to get something and go. And so I asked the guy because there was only like 2. There was a little bit of the ranch wings, and then there was 2 other kinds, and they don't have them labeled, right? And so unless you go there a lot, which I don't, to get wings, then you don't know what you're dealing with. So I asked him, I was like, "Well, what do we got? What do we have here?" I said, "What are these?" He goes, "Well, not much of anything." Just looked at me. It's like, okay. Once again, I could have been, negative, could have let anger take me over, but I've just not
I
let
don't think I
myself
would have
do
got
that anymore.
angry. I think I would have just kind of chuckled and I probably would have said outstanding customer service. And then I would have turned around and walked away.
No, I stayed, man.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, because I needed the wings, dude. My expectations are down here. They're down here. I'm not expecting that dude to. I expect him to do exactly what he did, and anybody else who's in that position.
Well,
Young
see,
guy.
okay,
He's
but
not,
but
not experienced.
here's the downfall though to what you're saying. Like you're saying that you have a low expectations for when you go into businesses like this. And I get that. And that makes sense. But you're saying that you have high expectations when you go into a local business or a local restaurant or something like that. And is that where this whole thing comes into play of where you go into a local business and you have one bad situation or they bring you the wrong food on accident or something. And now you're against that business forever? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that where, because you have higher expectations on a local business versus like a McDonald's?
But I wouldn't say I have higher expectations on a local business, though. I'm saying if you want good customer service, that's where you go. I'm not saying that you necessarily, for me at least, I don't have like, I don't make sure that if they were to do the same thing, that I would stomp out and be like, I'm never coming to small business again. I think that just naturally it just doesn't happen that way. My expectations are low for Walmart and Taco Bell and McDonald's and all of these run of the mill places that just like churn people out like like an assembly line.
Right.
That's where my low expectations come in at because I don't expect anything more from those folks anymore. And I think a big part of it also is because of the staffing issues that we have nowadays after the pandemic, especially. It's like nobody's trying to work right now. So they're really not getting the cream of the crop. So I'm not really comparing the two
Hey,
as far as
speaking
my
of
expectations.
speaking of that,
Yeah.
before I go on, did you see? I bet you did because it sounds like that's where this topic's coming from. Let me look this up real quick. It was from a buddy of ours, Will. He just posted this on. Oh, where's it at? It was just recent. I thought maybe it wasn't on Instagram. Maybe it was on. I thought it was. Hang on, this is really great audio. I know. Well, now I don't see it anymore. It was basically about like talking about the years and how things have gone with like a McDonald's and stuff like that, and why people don't want to flip burgers anymore. Did you see that quote?
I don't remember. I've seen and heard plenty of
I just seen this like
I've heard
earlier, like not
plenty of things that have kind of realigned my perceptions as far as why people aren't trying to work right now. Because at first thought it's just that people just don't want to work because they're lazy because the pandemic made us lazy and we got the stimulus packages and things like that.
yeah, that was part of it, but it was just it was really well said how it was on how I found how it was. But anyways, my bad. I just wasted time. Oh well.
But now it's like now my perceptions are a little different because of people like my friend Will Meyer and others, other quotes and things like that I've seen that people are just they got this little break away from the grind, away from what their reality was, flipping burgers and doing this and that, and how things just get flipped around. And now they're like, you know what? I don't think so. I think it's not going to work for me anymore. And it makes sense. It kind of makes sense for people. In my opinion, it does. But my whole point was to spend a little more, go a little further, support local business. Like I said, I don't go to Walmart nearly as often as what I used to. When that guy said that about the wings, he's like, well, pretty much next to nothing. And then he goes on to mumble, was like, well, we've been really busy and blah, blah. I was like, well, just dude, tell me what these are right here. What flavor are these? And he told me. And so I was like, well, just pack those bad boys in the big three. And I said, will that work? He goes, yeah. I said, let's do it. So we packed them in there. And I got my wings. I left. I know it's kind of anticlimactic, but that's it, man. I'm not going into Walmart getting angry at some 17-year-old dude who does not want to be there, who probably got slammed because all their stuff was gone. I'm sure they worked hard to get all that stuff and got slammed by the after church crowd. And now all their wings are gone. And here I am asking for, hey, what's this? And he's probably, trying to catch his breath or whatever. Or maybe he just sucks at his job. I don't care. I went to Walmart to get wings, not for fantastic customer service.
Right.
And
I mean,
I'm not gonna let it get to me anymore.
I think the biggest part these days, especially, well, so I would say like for people who live in the city, they use like Instacart a lot, which is where you can basically have somebody go pick up your groceries. And I think that's one of those things where only select places will like work through Instacart, right? So I'm sure like I would imagine like Walmart and places like that are one of those places, but for like us in a smaller town, Walmart or Schnucks or one of those bigger places, the convenience factor comes in because they have like curbside pickup and stuff like that for your groceries where you don't even have to go inside. You can just go online, pick your groceries out. They pick it off the shelves for you, bring it out to your car and put it in your car for you. And there's some instances where they actually will deliver it to your house as well. I don't know that we're going to have a small business doing that.
And I don't know that we should.
Right. I agree.
And go out and get your groceries. I can see like even just the Walmart pickup, right? I can't stand Walmart pickup. I can't stand it. I've never done it myself as far as the ordering. I've gone to do the pickup because my wife, she has not probably stepped foot in Walmart in probably 2 years.
Really?
And I can tell you that overall, that's pretty beneficial for her because she's an impulse buyer and she buys just crap, that doesn't make any sense. And then she gets home and she plans on returning it and it sits on the table for the next 6 months because she never gets around to it. It's a ridiculous cycle that I'm glad she doesn't have to involve herself in anymore. I hate going to the Walmart pickup though, because I'm sitting there and I see all these people. I see cars pull up and they get, help before me. Just like the whole, steak and shake thing all over again, except now I'm waiting on groceries and I'm tired and I'm doing this not for myself. I would have went to Walmart and got it myself and been out in 5 minutes. But no, now I'm waiting in this stupid parking lot for 30 minutes waiting on these kids to bring out my stuff. It doesn't look like there's any rhyme or reason. Anyway, nothing but rants for me when it comes to this stuff for the most part. But I'm not letting it get it to me anymore. So I'm using my time while I'm sitting in the parking lot as wisely as I can, doing whatever I can on my smartphone to try to make myself, I don't know, do something productive.
Make you feel like you're productive at least somehow, right?
Something. Use my brain so I'm not just sitting there stewing because that's too easy. But I don't need that. I don't think anybody needs that. Like it's helpful for Karen not to have to, and by the way, her name's Karen, right? She is a Karen. But it's helpful for her not to have to go in to Walmart and spend money impulsively, but she can do that online anyway. She still orders crap that she doesn't need. So there's that. But it's not as bad, I don't think, as her going into Walmart. But we don't need that. I go to Harps all the time, which is a smaller, it's a little bit of a chain, but not like a Walmart or anything like that. It's more of a local chain, local-ish chain. I go there, and the prices are more expensive a little bit. It's a little more out of my way. It's a little bit further from the house, and I'm happy to go there, right? I'm happy not to go to Walmart. I love it. And they still have some kids there that act like they don't want to be there. And they look literally like 15, 16 years old, some of these kids. And some of them are just plain rude. But I'm still happy to be there and not at Walmart. And I can't tell you how happy I am. And I would like for more people to try to maybe realign your senses, get out of this convenience matrix that we're in. It's a trap, traps us into this convenience that we're so accustomed to. We're trading a bunch of other good stuff for that convenience. And we're not going to get that good stuff back unless we just kick that convenience to the curb. And say, you know what? I'm going to take an extra 10 minutes and spend an extra $5 on this over here because I'm not going to involve myself in that. I'm not going to participate anymore in your chicanery. I don't know. And this has been growing within me for a while, and it's kind of coming to fruition now where I'm taking as many steps as possible. Now, that's not to say I'm kicking all corporate, whatever to the curb. I still shop Amazon, right? I use Facebook for memes and things like that, but I'm still like plugged in. It's not that, but I'm doing everything I can not to just for the sake of convenience, keep trudging down this road that I feel like I've trudged down for so many years, just because Walmart's right down the road and because McDonald's is right down the road. It's so easy because I don't have to cook any raw ingredients, or I can save this much money at Walmart compared to Harps or whatever. I'm just trying to, as slowly as possible, or as shouldn't say that, slowly but surely as possible, I guess, trying to unwind some of that convenience I feel like is just killing my soul.
Yeah. I mean, even like if we're talking about like individual products, like beer, go to some local craft breweries around your area. I don't care what city you're in. Most cities have, some local places that are probably going to be a lot better than just drinking, a Budweiser or a Miller Lite or something like that.
Yeah.
If you buy candles at Walmart normally, there's probably a candle place around you somewhere that a local business who's making candles. You just think about just the products you buy. Even if you feel like you're in a rut to where you've got it's just so much easier to buy things at Walmart. Try to pick a few things a week or something that you buy somewhere else. And then maybe you can that'll get you into a groove of getting away from the corporate chains for the most part.
Yeah. And that's a perfect example. And even if you don't go all balls out and just stop every corporate purchase that's out there, make little changes. Like it's something that you feel like will truly make a difference, like craft beers. Even I can't always go to craft breweries, but I can go to Schnucks and get different local beers that are in our area.
Yeah, so that's what after I said it, I was thinking about that. I'm like, how does that really work? Because now you're supporting Schnucks by shopping at Schnucks, but you're also supporting a local brewery by shopping at a big place. So you're taking the good with the bad in that scenario, I guess, right?
I think you're still supporting the good though, because they're distributing to Schnucks for a reason. Like, that helps, and it would be more helpful to talk to someone who actually does this for their living. But they're distributing to places like Schnucks. It's kind of like because they've been able to make it that far.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They still need you to buy from Schnucks and from Dirt Cheap and from those places,
right.
because they're distributing to those, and they're trying to increase the volume of their sales, right? So the more they sell, they can cut the price a little bit on the beer itself, because they're having to sell through this chain, this grocery store. So that's going to eat into some of their profits. But the more they do that, the more they sell, the more they get out there, the wider their scope, the more people they reach, the more beer they're making, they're selling, and their profit margin still goes up. So is it best to go to their breweries? Yes, but I can't always drive to St. Louis to do that, right? If it's a St. Louis brewery. There's a couple local around here, but not very many. So if I want some of the good beers for Ferguson and Narrow Gauge and UCBC and all that good stuff, I've got to go to Schnucks to get it. But I'm still happy to do that because I'm buying local beer. Anheuser-Busch is local, but you know what I mean. Buying small business beer.
I mean, I guess the best way to do that would be if you can find local beer at a place that is local as well. Like St. Louis has a few places like beer sauce shop and stuff
Mm.
like that. That's a local business that has pretty much all the local beers there too. If you can't actually make it to a brewery, like if you can combine it all together to where everything is local, you're buying something local from a local place, then that's, everything that you can do. Everything.
Yeah, it's the final boss, man. You're defeating
Yeah.
the final boss there. That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
If you can, but like I said, if you can't, make small steps. Make small steps, and it makes me feel better. Which I'm not. My goal is not just to warm fuzzy feelings on the inside, but I do like that. It's a nice little treat for myself as well. But you are helping locals, and you're not going to see entities like Walmart, McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever. You're not going to see any change in them unless they absolutely have to. They have to change some of their practices and their ethics. Walmart pay their people terrible, and they won't give them full-time hours to keep them part-time. And they get so far, and very few of them make it up the ladder, even though they might be, worthy of it. Of course, we've heard that Amazon has been doing the same thing with a lot of their what do you call them? The centers, the sending, receiving, whatever places.
The warehouses.
Yeah, the distribution centers. They call them something. Can't remember the term of it now. Fulfillment centers, I think it
Gotcha.
is.
Yeah.
Fulfillment something.
Which we got
Anyway.
one. Didn't we get one in like St. Charles or St. Peter's or something?
Fenton. There's one in Fenton.
Oh, Fenton. Wow.
Yeah, like where Chrysler used to be.
Gotcha.
That whole place right there, they just big whole freaking Amazon building there all of a sudden.
Wow.
It's like, 2 days later, paying there's Amazon, just like they dropped it out of the sky. Jeff Bezos, you crazy dude, probably dropped it up with a satellite while he was up there with his rocket. That's what he was doing. He was like, he was scoping out Fenton to see where he wanted to drop it.
He's in there collaborating with Dollar Generals. He's learning how to
You're right.
how to put them up so fast.
They have a laser from the sky pointing at different spots on the earth. And they just pshing,
Yeah.
And then the Dollar General pops up, and now Amazon. So they got
Dollar General makes no sense, right? They're everywhere. They're like on the corner in the middle of nowhere in the forest, and there's always 20 cars there.
Yeah, it's a great meme.
I don't understand.
Have you seen the meme?
I don't think so.
It says, it has that line. It says nobody, absolutely nobody, and then it shows this Dollar General out in a cornfield, just like with cows and nothing else around. And that's Dollar General right there. But that's what a great marketing plan. What a great way to
just put them up everywhere.
Just everywhere. Everybody will go. You'll find somebody to come to your Dollar General.
I did see a meme where it was a picture of a Dollar General sack, and it was on the ground, and they said they had just found this out in the wild, but they picked it up real quick, so there wasn't another one that popped up.
Yeah, it's like a seed. It's going to germinate and plant. Yeah. So I like the Dollar General model. I don't know much about like their corporate structure or anything, but they're very basic though. They keep prices low, not because of necessarily, I haven't heard they treat staff terrible. I don't know how they treat staff, but if you notice, you walk in, there's nothing fancy. You just like freaking rip open a box and put it on the shelf. It's like, there you go. You want to buy it? It's pretty cheap. Come get it.
Did you
pretty
see?
Good deal.
Have you seen the most recent news that everybody's up in arms about? Is that Dollar Tree, which is the last like actual true dollar store, is raising their prices to $1.25. Did you see this? And everybody's outraged about it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we're going to survive. But isn't that funny? It's like how inflation has hit so hard that a company has to raise all their prices by a quarter on everything in the store.
So do they change their name to everything's $1.25 now though? As opposed to everything's $1.
Or I guess it's just like $1.25. I think it's $1.25 tree now.
$1.25 tree. There you go. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I kind of like those places though, but at the end of the day, we can all do a little bit to try and push back against this corporate, just everything that is corporate, because it just seems like they have their way with us. And now finally McDonald's and all these other places are having to raise their pay wage, their pay rate, because they don't have any workers. Everybody said, you know what? No, we're not doing it. And so then now they're offering $15 an hour to come work at McDonald's. And so another meme, you get that thinking guy meme. It's like, if they can pay $15 now, Why couldn't they do that a year ago, 2 years ago? Well, they could. And they say they're going to pass off the price to the consumer. Okay. And that's always been, I will admit, that's always been a thing with me too. Kind of the way that politics had its influence on me was that, but when you raise minimum wage, which that's kind of a different argument for me. But the argument was if you raise minimum wage, everything else goes up. All right. So inflation happens, right? The cost of your goods go up and whatnot. The dollar somehow is worth less. So I don't even know how that all works. But with like fast food joints, okay, well, we have to pay our employees more. So now we have to increase the cost of the Big Mac. You know what? My thought is go ahead because I'm not going to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a frappe every once in a while. I'm going to get you chicken nuggets.
But you know what? But you know what the other thing is that other people look at it that will say, well, go ahead because they're going to pay for it anyways. And I want to see the model. I mean, it's got to be so intricate, but I want to see the model of like what that looks like. So if you have to pay all of your employees $3 more an hour, what does that look like? Does that mean you raise the price of a Big Mac by a quarter because of all the Big Macs that are sold in a given year or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to see what that model looks like on what you have to, like, what you have to raise the prices on and how much to offset how much you're giving out to all your employees.
Yeah, well, they're looking at overall profit margins,
Yeah.
versus your losses for like pay rates and all that, your salaries and your general costs for supplies and electricity and all that good stuff.
Well,
shipping.
you know who has this so easy, I think, and I've been thinking about this for a while, like a Netflix or a Hulu or somebody like that. If for some reason they needed to raise their prices, who is going to get mad that they raised their price from $13 a month to $14 a month? And think about how many hundreds of millions of dollars they're going to make by just raising the price by $1 a person.
I have an argument for this too, actually.
Oh, you do?
I just kind of have a beef for Netflix as well.
Okay.
When I first started, I've been with Netflix for a long time now. When we first started getting Netflix, man, they were just delivering DVDs. You got DVDs in the mail.
Okay.
And then they started this thing where you could actually, they were streaming. They were a streaming service. You get on your TV, it's like, whoa, this is some good stuff. And back then I had been angry with cable for years and years because of the model that cable uses. Yeah, we're going to give you, 50 channels for $30 a month. And 25 of those channels are Home Shopping Network. 5 of them are the weather. And here's a couple of things you might actually like, but this stuff over here you got to pay extra for,
Mm-hmm.
And then the packages that you want, you had to get in packages. So I just wanted like Fox Sports Midwest so I could watch the Cardinals. Well, that wasn't the next package up. That was like 3 packages up. So you had to get 150 channels. 75 of those were Home Shopping or something equivalent to that. It's stupid. I couldn't, cable. I wanted to watch the whole thing, just crash and burn.
Well, before you move on from that, though, I've always thought that it would be such a smart business model for DirecTV or whoever your cable provider is to offer a build your own package and even charge more for it. Charge, that third tier or whatever, where you could watch your Fox Sports Midwest, charge that, but do like a build your own package for 50 channels, but these are the 50 channels you choose. And most people will pay more for that to have all of the channels that they actually want.
That's right. That's right. But it's never, ever happened. And
I don't know why. I don't get it.
I don't either. That's why I was railing on. It's like, why don't you just give me this, and this, and then you set the price and I'll see if I want to buy that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want all this other crap. I
Right.
don't want it.
Right.
And nobody does. Nobody that I know. Anyway.
So Netflix, sorry.
Netflix comes along. And I forget. I think it was like $8 a month back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so overall, really, I mean, from 8 to what is it now? 16, just for the basic package for Netflix.
I thought it was like 13. Maybe it's gone up. I don't know.
No, it's more than that now.
Okay.
It's gone up pretty much every year for the past, I don't know, several years now. Like bam, bam, bam. So we're getting up there. It's not, but I don't think it's even to $20 yet. I'm almost positive it's not. Still a very good price for Netflix. My beef is this: I see the trend. In a kind of a market economy that we have, you're either growing or you're dying, which I don't think that's stupid. I just think that's a retarded way to look at life in general. But I don't know much about economics, obviously. So my beef is that they're going to keep growing, and it's going to be a thing where they're going to do me wrong. I see it coming. They're going to. I take this personal, I know, but they're going to do me wrong. They're going to get to a place where they're going to start they're charging out the wazoo. They're going to start minimizing what they're showing. The only thing that's going to to maybe save them is the competition they have now with, streamers like Hulu and Peacock and all the other crap out there now. The competition might save Netflix, but just the fact that they're increasing their prices, I know it's bound to happen over time, but it just seems like they've been really pushing the limits here lately. And I'm not very happy with the selection anymore. It's just they're not cutting edge anymore. Like these other streaming services they got a lot more edge to them, and Netflix is just like, eh.
But they're also still the one that like isn't doing commercials and ads and stuff like that. They are, I'm pretty sure, aren't they starting to do some shows where it's like a weekly show like you would get on TV versus it might be their own Netflix shows. I'm not sure. But I think they're starting to do some stuff like that too. So like I can see the trend that you're talking about. And the competition does come into play, I think, with Apple TV and Paramount Plus and Peacock and all these others.
This goes on.
It does, man. And I was thinking about that earlier today too. I was like, man, if you have Hulu, Netflix, Apple Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, ESPN Plus, and cable, you need to reevaluate your life. You're either paying way too much for what you're not watching. There's no way that one TV show on any of those networks is enough to hold you to pay for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one show on Apple TV, one show on Paramount Plus, one show on Peacock. There's no way. You need to reevaluate yourself and either get rid of some of those or stop watching TV so much, because that's ridiculous.
I can't imagine that somebody, I don't know, that I think that what they're doing is they've got that one show. Like I was advised to watch Yellowstone on Peacock.
That's what everybody's talking about.
It's like the new Kevin Costner kind of westerny thingy.
I think it's on Paramount Plus, but anyways.
I've seen it on Peacock.
Is it on Peacock too? Okay.
Definitely on there.
Okay.
Because we were, my wife and my daughter, they're big Psych fans, which Psych is a pretty funny show. I begrudgingly got to watching it, and I was like, yeah, that's funny. I like those guys, Gus and what's his name, Sean. But there was a movie they put out. The show's been done for a long time, but they've been putting out these movies, I guess, the Psych movies. And the latest one of the girls found it on Peacock. It was on there. So, but it was one that there's some stuff on Peacock, and I noticed this on some of the other channels too. Like you can watch it like Amazon Prime. You can watch some of the stuff, but the other stuff that's on here, you got to click on it and then, oh, sorry, you got to pay for this. You don't just get this. Just because you got Amazon Prime doesn't mean you get to watch this. You can rent it. You can buy it.
Now that's a good business model, is Amazon Prime, because you pay for Amazon Prime and you get the free shipping along with that. Plus you get Amazon Prime, the TV service.
I guess I'm not impressed with Amazon Prime though.
I'm not impressed by their selection, but as far as being a streaming service, and then you get that free I'd say free, but you get that by paying for Amazon Prime, and now you're getting free shipping, especially if you order through Amazon all the time. Like I can literally, for the first time ever, like by having Amazon Prime, I can, and I know we've been talking about small business this whole time, and now I'm talking about Amazon and ordering through there. But,
I know. But
I can order through Amazon and then remember after I've ordered it that I needed to order something else, and then I can go on there and order it again or order something else and not have to worry about any like paying double shipping or anything like that because I pay for Amazon Prime.
Right.
I'm just saying it's not a bad business model, and I understand that because it's multi-billionaires that are running this whole gambit. But
yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do.
The reason why, because I just kind of see Amazon Prime. I get what you're saying. It is a good business model per se for some, not for me, because I have an adverse reaction when I can see a deploy too easily, I guess. The Amazon Prime for like the shipping is it's if you order from Amazon Prime, it's a great deal. I mean, you just might as well do that because you're going to save in shipping costs. It's going to happen. So then they throw you this little bonus. Well, here now you can have this streaming service, too. Just here you go, bam. But most of the stuff that's on there, you still got to pay for. So all they're doing is diverting you to another place to spend your money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just showing you. It's just another way to sell you.
Yeah.
It's not this service that they're like, well, we appreciate you as a customer, so we want to
Well, no, I would
give you this as well.
Yeah, I would never say that. And then on top of the fact that if you pay for Amazon Prime because you get the free shipping, now it just slips your mind when you're buying stuff that, oh, well, I can buy this too because I don't have to pay shipping on it anyways. I'm saving my money on my shipping, but you're actually paying for the shipping by paying for Amazon Prime. So I understand where you're coming from. And normally if I can see what the ploy is, it shies me away, but I can also respect, I guess, from the business aspect, what they're doing.
Yeah. With the Amazon Prime, no, I respect that part of it. Let me differentiate here because Amazon Prime's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. When I was an undergrad, I think it's probably when I was a grad. When I was a grad student back in like 2012 through 2014, I had Amazon Prime myself because that's where I was ordering all my textbooks, right?
Yeah.
And so I was ordering textbooks. They want to pay for shipping, and I was ordering other things too here and there. Nothing like what we do now, as far as just household supplies and crap like that now. But it just made more sense for me to get the Prime so that I could get the shipping. So the shipping part of that, it makes sense to me even as a business model because I'm going to order more through them because I know I don't have to worry about that pesky shipping, right? Because that does deter me. When I $4 shipping, it's like, okay, well, I got to make this worth my while. And sometimes I just want that one thing. With Prime, I don't have to worry about that. That's cool. My problem is with the streaming service because I hated Apple TV even more for this. Like, oh, here, try Apple TV for free. Okay, well, yeah, it's free, all right, but everything you get on there, you have to pay for. Anything that's good is worth watching. And that's how Prime is. They have movies that you can rent or you can buy. Okay, well, I can do that on iTunes. Or they have a lot of, and then they have some of the Amazon originals, which most of that I haven't really tried a whole lot, but nothing really appeals to me. So I just didn't like that it was it's like another commercial. It's like here's something else you can buy. Here, we're gonna offer this to you, and go buy some more stuff. Go buy some movies, rent some movies, whatever. I don't know. Just that model for the streaming service rubbed me the wrong way. But as a business, yeah, you're right. It's a smart thing to do. What and this is what Apple did too, is they consolidated everything. And I think we've talked about it before. I know you've seen it. That picture, and it might have been a meme where it shows like an old school video camera and a calculator and an adding machine and a telephone, old school telephone, and a camera, a regular camera, all this stuff on this table. It's like this big, huge table full of stuff. And now it's all on this. It's all on your phone, right? Apple took all of that, the music and a boombox on there. They took all this and they compacted it into one thing that they now control and make money off of. And that's what Amazon does too, right? Take a streaming service, take all the goods and services, all that stuff, you just squish it together. And it's a great business model. It's what all the
convenience, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's how they get us.
I was an Android guy for a long time. And the reason why I switched over was because I could have my phone and my music all on one device. It was convenient. It was literally a convenience factor that made me switch. Now I'm happy being an Apple guy now, but I was against it for a long time. And then finally I was like, man, it just doesn't make sense that I'm paying for a phone and, I have to pay for an iPod or an MP3 player or whatever I want to put my music on when I can have them both on the same thing. It didn't make sense.
That's, I know we're kind of running on time here. We never did get to any of our topics.
Well, that happens sometimes.
That's okay. But just explain to me why you were so against going to iPhone when you were with Android. I've only had iPhone. I've had iPhone since, I don't know, probably 2010, maybe something. So nothing but iPhone for me. And before that, I only had flip phones. So, but I don't really have any kind of strong aversion toward Android. But there's a line in the sand with most people. It's like Android versus iPhone, and you can't hardly cross that line. When you do, you're a traitor to your fellow Android or iPhone users, whichever line you cross, whichever way you go. What
Right.
was it for you what was that line all about for you?
There wasn't really a line. It was honestly just because everybody's doing the iPhone thing and I don't want to do that. That's literally all it was. I didn't really have an aversion to it. It was just a matter of when people are like, when people try to pressure you to do something and that just pushes you away from doing it. That's kind of how I felt with Apple.
Okay.
You know, it just, yeah, I didn't I didn't hate Apple for any certain reason or anything like that. It was just, and it was also one of those things where I was like, well, Android is what I know because I've had a lot of Android phones. And I didn't really want to just make the transition into something brand new, a new operating system and all that kind of stuff. So,
Okay. So you
yeah.
kind of just like feared the change a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I know because I guess that was in your circle because when you said everybody was doing the iPhone thing, it was my experience. At one point in time, most people had iPhones, but then everybody, like the Android became like a craze. So I remember most of like my family, like my parents, I think my parents, but my sisters, everybody went to Android, and my in-laws, they went Android. They've never come back to Apple. And so I just remember them going over there and talking about how, you should come to the dark side or whatever, you should make the switch.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really have an aversion to it either way. I didn't get it. I was just happy with where I was at. But I know people on both sides of this aisle. I know people, like I know my boss, my director, he tends to look down upon Android users as if they are lower class citizens and makes all kinds of funny jokes about them. And I think it's partially in play, but it's really funny. It's pretty brutal sometimes. And I know people who feel the same way about Apple. They're like, oh, you're one of those, Android's open source and you could do so much more with it. And you're just limiting yourself by sucking on Tim Apple's, Apple.
But then again, how many Android users are using all what they can as far as open sourcing goes? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can say that there's so much more you can do and so many more capabilities, but how many of those are you actually using? What are you actually doing that makes your phone better than mine?
Yeah. And you know what? I would say, especially since the advent of Apple Music, it's no comparison. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, because I don't like Spotify. I've never liked Spotify.
I will
But
say that Android
never paid for it though.
I will say that Android does not update near as much as Apple does.
Yeah.
Now, I'm still pretty critical about Apple updates. I will never install the update that is like 14.0, like the first one of that. I will never download that. I'll always wait until like 0.1 or 0.2 where they fix the bugs in the original update. But I don't like, my wife is still an Android person and her phone hardly ever updates ever. And it seems like we get one at least like once every couple of months.
Yeah. Which, it's not necessarily a bad thing though.
Yeah.
The thing about Apple, this goes for their phones as well as their computers, is that they're a closed system. You've got to go through Apple to get anything, any apps or anything at all onto the phone or the computer. And because they do this, they're able to mitigate a lot of the threats that you get otherwise from viruses and different things like that. So that, some people rail on that, like it minimizes your opportunity. I agree with that, but it also minimizes your opportunity for the bad stuff too. It's like it kind of keeps you in a safe zone. I like having that freedom. I've never had a single problem with my Apple iPhone, like going to websites. Not even once. Knock on wood, of course, but never had a problem with it. Of course, I don't know if people on Androids. Well, I do know some actually that have had viruses because they went to websites that ended up not being safe. But never. I just love that sense of freedom, that sense of security that I have on an iPhone, that I never have had to worry about that, man. That's to me, that's worth it. That's awesome.
Right.
So I don't know. I was just curious about that because the Apple Android debate, I haven't heard anything about that in more recent times, but it is just interesting how it's almost like a political polarization. Like, I'm surprised that, Republicans aren't, one and liberals aren't the other, because they separate everything else.
Uh-huh.
You know, Kyle Rittenhouse, the pandemic, you know, you name it. Everything
If
is
you're on the
polarized.
left, you can only have an Android. If you're on the right, you can only believe in Apple.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if you're in the middle, what do you have if you're in the middle? Like a Motorola?
So, let's be honest, there really is no middle. But yeah, I'd say like your Motorola is like your Rand Paul or um, uh, Ron Paul. You know, your guys who really, maybe your Andrew Yang. You know, he's like your Google phone. Maybe he's in the middle where nobody really pays attention.
Yeah, who does those? Who does Google phones? Come on now. Do you know anybody that owns a Google Pixel phone?
I've known one my entire
The
life.
commercials look cool, and I'll give them that, but I just look at that, I'm like, I'm not going to learn
know.
that. I'm never going to choose to learn that.
No. Who's even out there buying those? I don't think they really exist. Like I said, I've known one person. to
I
own
feel
a
like Google doesn't make their money off of their phones.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's what
The
they're
one
out there
tiny
really.
part of what they do.
Yeah, I don't think that's where they're putting their resources at. But
Yeah.
at any rate, bud, I gotta go. So
Yeah.
I feel like we got a lot accomplished here today.
You think so?
Good times. Yeah, I don't know. Got a lot off my chest as far as corporate America and my woes and my new perspective and my new it's very interesting. I wish I could let you inside my head now versus like in the not so distant past, because I found a peace in my head about not letting those things get to me. It's like really I've really locked into choosing one thought over another.
Yeah.
And not allowing the little stuff in life, especially when I can choose something different. Like I'm not being forced to be there. It's really, and you know, some people have probably always been that way, but not me, because you
Yeah.
know I've had a tendency to let negativity kind of swell up in me, and I wasn't used to like lashing out at people all the time. It wasn't that, but it's just that negativity it feeds and it resurfaces in other ways, indirect ways, and seems like I found a way to let it go. And I've done it in the belly of the beast. Like I've done it waiting in line at drive-through. I've done it at Walmart, done it wherever I was at. And it's crazy that I actually found my peace in the middle of the storm. So I don't know, just interesting stuff to me.
Well, but also in general, like the whole shop local, support local. I know we've had local business owners on the show in the past, and you know, we've really tried to hit this home before, but one day a year is not near enough for us to be, you know, support local Saturday shouldn't be a one day a year thing. It should
Right.
be, you know, all year round. And if you have the option of supporting local and getting the same thing for just a little bit more, always choose to go local. Regardless of how our conversation has gone, you know, we probably actually are telling everybody that we're giving more money to Walmart or Amazon or whatever than we're giving to local. But if the option is put in front of our face which direction we're going to go, we're definitely going to go local.
Yeah. No, I couldn't have said it better myself, but only to add that, you know, talking about it, having it on your mind, even though we're still shopping Amazon and we still find ourselves at Walmart or wherever from time to time, shopping local and those people, because those are actual people that you can actually talk to, you know, the business owners, and they're tangible. Having those people on your mind and talking about that, I think is a very big first step into supporting those folks, because you're putting them in your awareness, into your consciousness. Part of the convenience about Walmart and Amazon is that you don't have to think about it, man. They've made things just so it's one click of a button. I mean, you already have your account there. You know, you pick something out, you can hit one button. They made that a thing where you can actually just hit one button and just buy it, and that's it. You don't have to think about it, and that's not the way that it's supposed to be. You know, that convenience, like I said, it's a whole other episode, but that convenience, we're trading a lot for that convenience, and we're trading that personal touch. We're trading in the support of those people, us being able to support those people that have those small businesses. I think that's important for our communities, things like that. So I would just add that having that conversation like we're having right now is important. Have it on your minds. Think about it. Think about what are the little things I can do to help to support small business, and take some of that money that the corporations don't need and put it to some people who are actually affecting the community in some way.
Right. Exactly.
So right on, brother.
Yep.